Next up, Hell of a Summer. So I watched these two in this order, and I thought, what the heck? Is this just a week of slasher movies? Because I have another slasher movie here. What is going on? This is a movie directed by Billy Brick, Bryk, Billy Brick, and Finn Wolfhard. And you go like, wait, Finn Wolfhard, isn't that Stranger Things kid? You just talked about Stranger Things, didn't you? That's the kid from Stranger Things. He also plays a minor role in here. He directed it or co-directed this movie. I've seen a lot of reviews of this that are kind of middling, and I would agree with them. But a lot of people are saying, but there's a lot of promise here for Finn Wolfhard. I really want to see what he does as a director. I I would have to say I kind of disagree. I don't say it's a badly directed movie, but there's nothing that's struck out to me and said like, oh wow, what a director. It was just like, okay, the camera's in focus and it's going in the right direction. It's showing me things. That seems like kind of the bare minimum of being a director, but whatever. What is Hell of a Summer? This is classic slasher movie. You have a bunch of camp counselors returning to camp. What did I write down the name of the camp here? It's not Camp Crystal Lake, it's Pine Way. In fact, it opens with two older counselors. So you kind of get the idea that the ones that have led the camp for a long time, they're sitting around a campfire. The one dude's trying to sing a song, and the woman's like stopping him because it's terrible. She doesn't want to hear it again. And eventually, they both get murdered before the credits by a guy in a devil mask or somebody in a devil. Maybe it's a guy, maybe it's not. We don't know. And that's the cold open. You can tell it's played for laughs somewhat, but the humor is just like not. It's not especially satirical. It's not especially funny. It's not especially goofy. It's just kind of in the middle. And for me, it was this humor that's not really even trying hard enough in either direction. It's not trying to either be too subtle or too outrageous. So it just kind of fell flat. And that kind of goes for the whole movie. The whole movie, I think, is trying for this humorous, satirical, I guess, parody of slasher movies, but it doesn't really do the parody, boldly or in a strong enough way to really work. Plus, slasher movies are kind of out of vogue, right? You can do a slasher movie parody now, of course. We've all seen the slasher movies, or most of us have, I guess. But the problem is they aren't really in the zeitgeist the way they used to be. Even with art, which, is kind of a nouveau slasher icon, you don't have enough of these old style ones, still hanging around. So what it is basically you have like all the camp counselors returning, they're preparing before the camp. Very, very classic Friday the 13th setup. You've got a few main characters. The main one is Jason. Oh, his name's Jason. Oh, see, get it? And he's played by Fred Hechinger. There's a bunch of them here, right? But he's the main one. The idea is that he's a total schlub, right? He's the camp counselor equivalent of the guy who's still living in his mom's basement. He's the failure to launch guy, right? He's been there for what, 7 years or 8 years, way too long. He's in his mid 20s. The other counselors that have only been there a year or two are like, wait, you're still here? I thought you weren't coming back. Some of them can't even remember him, and he's been there for so long, but they don't remember him. So essentially, he gets no respect. No one cares for him. And so you think like, well, maybe the setup here is that he's the killer and he's mad at everybody because he's always runner up for the counselor of the year. He's always, no one cares about him. No one knows who he is. He's kind of the not the cool guy. He's not the pretty guy. Not the good looking guy. He's not the great athlete. He's just Jason. But no, he's just our main character, basically, the main one to watch. But there's a whole variety of characters. There's kind of a love interest for him, who is a young woman who's, I guess, supposed to be kind of less cool or whatever, but she's kind of the every girl. And she got broken up with recently, too. So you kind of tell she's interested in him, and he's not quite getting it. Played by Abby Quinn. That's Claire. And then there's just a bunch of types, right? There's the gay dude. There's the really hot girl socialite. There's oh gosh, the hot dude, athlete guy, all the kind of people you'd expect. And then that's pretty much it. And then they get killed. And I kept waiting for this movie to have some sort of a twist or some sort of an angle, and it really didn't. It was just kind of a trying to be funny, not very funny comedy version of horror of slasher movies. And then it was also just a kind of a not very good slasher movie. And I realized a lot of those old slasher movies have a lot less blood than you think. A lot of times they would kind of cut right as the murder came. This movie also does that. There's not really much gore in here. Like compared to the last one, compared to Wake Up, had some decent gore. It kind of went for it a few times. This movie really doesn't. And the gore it has is pretty tame. Oh, and I was thinking of the, what was it? The movies we saw. It was like that trilogy of movies that was on Netflix about 3 or 4 years ago that we reviewed, Summer of whatever. I think there was three different summers, right? It was like Summer of '84, Summer of whatever. Those were, they came out as if they were going to be generic slasher movies, and they actually turned out to be really good and really interesting, and they went hard when they killed people, and they got really gory in ways that you did not expect because they were kind of teen oriented. This is movie's kind of the opposite. Like it feels like this movie wants to be like a movie like Bodies, 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 which is like really a Zoomer movie of its time. You either love it or hate it, but it really skewers the kind of the zeitgeist, the moment, the young influencer, rich attitude. And like I said, love it or hate it, it had style and it really went for it. I ended up quite liking that movie, even though I know there's a lot of knock against it being kind of a one trick pony. This movie doesn't have that, and it feels like it wants to have that. So I can't quite recommend this one. I'm gonna go 2.5 stars. It's okay. This is like if it wouldn't have a little bit of gore and stuff, I'd almost feel like a TV movie. Like it's easy to watch, but it's not much to watch.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. For more movie and television reviews and interviews, please subscribe to my Deepest Dream channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, thanks so much for your support. Take care.